Hi, this is Trinisha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about the truth. So, you're probably thinking, what's making you want to talk about the truth today? So, when you see a lot of people on these videos, you will see them talk about different things. They may act like they have it all together. They may say things that it, for me, it's always like it's so hard to see people pretend as if they are perfect when life is not perfect. Life is always unpredictable. It's never something that you could ever imagine. You can never plan per se for anything. Like, I only say it that way because you can have goals. It's great to have goals. It's great to have things that you want to achieve in your life, but God has the final say. So, regardless of what it is that you're doing, as long as you're working towards something and you're following God, you're doing everything that you need to do. I'm not saying be lazy and don't have any like goals that you want to reach or like fitness goals or health goals or things in your life that you want to accomplish. Those are things that if you desire and it's healthy for you, God is going to want to see you do that as well. It's not something that He's going to be like, well, you need to be in your purpose, so you never get to do any of the things that are the desires of your heart. And I don't mean like if your desire is to just be completely selfish and never care about anybody else ever again. Like I don't know if God's gonna bless that, but but you know what I mean. It's gonna be something to where you give glory to the kingdom, or like if you are doing something that you enjoy, like playing a sport or something else, God is not like, oh well, don't, He never wants you to enjoy that sport ever again or enjoy like doing something for yourself ever again. He wants you to enjoy your life. He also doesn't want you to just be selfish though. So it's easy to be selfish in areas where God would need you to be selfless. So I think that's where the happy medium, the balance comes in. Because when you find what it is that is adding glory to the kingdom and also honors and respects yourself and others, then I think you might be on to something. And so today at church we talked about three truths. We talked about we talked about God's truth, which is the truth. We talked about man's truth, which is like what society thinks, what other people think, your opinion on things, and this is what you believe, your skewed perception of reality. And then the third one was Satan's truth, which is all lies. And it's funny because I did this post and I said Satan's truth, the lies he told. Because it's true. He will take a little snippet of whatever the truth is and manipulate it to his advantage. Like, God could say something like, let's say I feel like I always have to go into a relationship stance or something, but let's say God said that He's going to get you a new job. You're thinking that this new job is the job that's going to bless you. That's the job that God has been telling you that you should be getting and everything else. You didn't discern with God whether this was a job or not. You just took it because Satan's like, oh yeah, look at this money. Yeah. Like just trying to make everything seem so appetizing. Like it's the best thing since sliced bread. And it could be like poisonous bread, like for real, because you sometimes you want something, but it's so toxic for you. It's something that will destroy you from the inside out. And it's so crazy because Satan will always make everything seem like something that you really, really, really want. I struggle with this lately in another area of my life. Mm, I, I don't want to just put this all on just one person because not one person could just make you feel that way. I mean, feel like devastated or like devastated is a heavy word for a random person, but like just in general, it's just I was having a conversation with one of my family members earlier, and when I got on this video, the thing that I wanted to do, I definitely prayed to God and was like, just guide me because I don't want to get beside myself. I don't want to become arrogant. I don't want to go into a bashing session. I don't want to turn this into a rant video, a rant vlog. Of course, this helps me psychologically because it helps me socialize, and socializing is one of the most beneficial factors of psychology or being able to have a healthy mindset. And so for me, when I do these videos, it actually helps me clear my mind because it's allowing me to allow God to use me as a vessel, as an oracle for the kingdom of God. It's allowing him to be able to, put whatever it is in my soul, in my heart, so that I can say those things in this video. And I'm not saying that, God's telling me this or that. I'm just saying that in general, I try to, whatever it is that I'm going through in life, I want that to be used as a testimony for someone else. When I make a mistake, when I make a misstep, when I do things wrong, I want to be able to use that. I want to allow God to use that so that I can help someone else, because if I can help someone else avoid the same mistake that I made or the same missteps that I made, then that's exactly what I want to do. I want to do whatever I can do to bring glory to the kingdom of God. I want to serve in whatever way it is that I possibly can. And it's so weird because today I went to two services. I went to a service at one church, and then I went to the church I normally go to. And I struggled so hard this morning. I really struggled. I got up really early because I wanted to do my yoga while I listened to some instrumental gospel music. I really wanted to clear my mind. I wanted to be in a good stance where, me and God were already connecting before the service. I wanted to have my mind focused on God and nothing else. I wanted to make sure that I was completely clear in whatever it is that I was doing. I wanted to make sure that everything that I did today was intentional, because I have been struggling a little lately, and I get in these moments in my life, and it's not that, God isn't who he says he is or anything like that. It's just that in life things will happen. It's just like things happen in life all the time, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And usually I can handle it in a pretty good way. This is something that I've been dealing with for a while now, and I think it's because there's so much other stuff going on, so many other changes that is added to it. And so it's not just like a typical thing, like where I could just be like, oh, okay, oh, well. It's like I'm holding on to things in my life that I know I need to let go of. Like, I don't want to like get too far into detail, but sometimes in life, Satan or God will present something to you. Maybe they'll present something to you as like a see this is possible kind of thing. And so it's supposed to be intended to give you hope, and Satan will manipulate it and make you feel like you need to rush into something, or make you do or say things to push people away, or he will manipulate the whole situation and make it into something dark and sinister instead of something that could be giving glory to God, something that could be an example for others. And it's so hard for me at this moment because of all of the changes that are going on. And I'm really trying to keep it together. Really, really trying to be like strong and brave, and it is so difficult. I know every video I'm like tearing up. I know you guys are probably like, what in the world? Get it together, girl. But it's tough because, especially when you know that this thing is something that means a lot to you. And it shouldn't mean a lot to you. It's so weird that something like that could just matter to you so much when you barely know anything. Like, it's so weird for me. Like, I've never been in a situation like this where I have needed to let something go, or needed to just give it to God and just like take my hands off of it so God can do whatever it is that he needs to do. And I am literally like, because I think it's really because there's so much change in my life, and so many things are happening and changing constantly so quickly, and there's nothing that I can do about it. I can't hold on to anything. So I feel like that's why it's so hard for me to let this thing go. It's like the one thing that I can kind of grab a hold of a little, and I can't even have it. It's just there. So it's so weird that it would be difficult for me to let something go that I will never be able to get. Like I'll never be able to have that thing. It's not. I like the thing, but the thing doesn't like me back. It's one of those things. It's like when you eat like some sort of food. Like for me, on Thanksgiving, I ate this food that I love eating. And once a year, I give myself like the go ahead and eat this food, even though I know my body completely disagrees with it. Like, I bloat like crazy when I eat this type of food. And and I was just like, okay, well, it's just today. And then I can go back to eating everything healthy and not worry about it anymore. And I ate that food, my body was going crazy. It was looking like it was looking. It didn't look horrible. I just had like a little bloating. So instead of me wearing something like this that's fitted, I probably should have worn like a baggy t-shirt or something. I don't know. Until like a couple days, a few days to a week went by when, the bloating was surpassed and everything, but I didn't. So I just had to deal with it and be uncomfortable. But it is what it is and whatever. And so I just, I really have been holding on to this thing that God's like, you need to let go so that I can move in your life. And I have been in this weird waiting stage, I think, because I haven't been able to let go. And when you really truly like something or you want something and it doesn't like you back, it is so hard. I know people are like, oh yeah, I would just be like, blah, 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 whatever. I can do that with everything except for something that I want, something that I really, really, really want. I can do that with everything else. Let a guy come up to me that I'm just like, oh yeah, he's attractive, but whatever. Like I could drop him so quickly, it doesn't make any sense. And I don't mean it like in a, oh, I got it like that kind of way because we all struggle. There's always that one person who can make us just look crazy. But like in general, I have no problem doing that with people that I'm just like, you know, or like especially if they're like no good for me at all and it's obvious. It's like, okay. If they're like a bad person, oh, that's super easy. If they're like somebody who is we're not aligned at all on any values, it's so easy. When it's a person who is like, I don't know, who I might not be attracted to and they just act a fool, that's easy. When they act a fool, it's easy. When they try me in the worst way, like super disrespectful, it's easy. When it is when it is a decent human being who actually has the same values, who's equally yoked, it is really, really hard for me to wrap my mind around how that could not be the person. It is. It's super hard. It is super duper hard. It's not like a, oh, okay, this great guy, let me just go ahead and let him be with a whole nother person because I totally just am not good enough. Like, who thinks like that? Nobody thinks like that. I really feel like somebody is going to be like, if they watch this video in the future, they're going to be like, oh, that's so easy. Let you go ahead. Why did I really get that much energy though when I said that? Like, I really was like, I seemed like I was about that life in a second. Like, calm down. No, but seriously, like, let you meet somebody who is attractive, who's equally yoked, who has the same values, who is a decent human being, and you go ahead and be like, well, it's life. It is what it is. And you're the type of person who always has a schedule, who likes things to be like, you like to be you like to plan things out. Not that everything needs to be planned, but for the most part, like when it comes to me being able to plan stuff for like my daughter or planning things for like when I'm working on my business or like my dream work, things like that. And I really want to make sure I spend time serving or doing things like that. I don't want to just be the type of person who's so burnt out from doing something that I hate that I never get a chance to serve in my purpose or to live my purpose at all. Like, of course, it's nothing wrong with working a job or being in a career in another field, especially when you like your job and things like that, or you're learning new things. But it's totally different when you're in a position where you are being drained emotionally, and it's constantly a constant change, and nothing is stable, and you can't plan anything for the week. You can't do anything, like you can't go anywhere. If your friends say you want to do something such and such day, you got to say you got to check, because you don't know what day you're going to do what. You can't, like, on the weekends you're exhausted because you're trying to catch up on everything else because you didn't have any time to do anything during the week or whatever else. And it's a lot. And when you are in a position like that, and then let's say to add on top of that, you have like other things going on in your life that are more serious, and then you have it's just a lot at one time. And and let's say, not only do you have like this emotional thing going on, not only do you have like real life stuff happening to you, not only do you have like this area of your life that's new that you're trying to get a hold of, not only do you have like inside of you where it just feels like it's so much, it's overwhelming, and then on top of that, go ahead and get rid of this amazing person who who doesn't see your value. So not only is everything else in your life like going crazy and there's no stability anywhere, but now on top of that, when you could feel good, and I mean, of course, I feel good with God, and God is everything, and I know he will work everything out for his favor. Everything will be worked out the way it's intended to. It's not that there's anything that I can control about it. I have no control over anything in my life right now. It's completely like out of my control. There's nothing I can do about the serious situation. There's nothing I can do about, the changes that are happening. There's nothing I can do about any of it, because I can't make someone like me. I can't make someone pursue me or like me or think that I'm good enough. I can't make, you know, just my dream job out of thin air. I can't make, and I'm not saying a job in general, I'm just saying like with career wise, with my purpose, with anything that's going on in my life, there's nothing that I can just turn and then make it into something that it's not. And when it comes to like me with all of the like emotional stuff and everything else, I think because it's so overwhelming and everything is like, I could probably deal with one of those areas. It would just be like, it wouldn't be like ideal, but I would be like, okay, that makes sense. God has better, it is what it is. I could even deal with, the personal stuff that's happening and be like, God's gonna take care of it. Everything is fine. I don't have to stress about it or worry about it, because there's nothing I can do about it anyways. It's in God's hands. And that's fine. I could deal with, career changes and things like that at once, by itself. That would just be a normal thing that happens. Changes happen every day. Life is change. You are ever evolving and changing. So that's not something that I could not wrap my head around or deal with. But everything at once is like, like, oh my gosh, it's a lot. It's too much. I know. You're like, call on Jehovah Sabbath. I know. Allow God to fight these battles for me. And I have been praying, and there have been things that have been working out in the background. There's things that have been changing, and different things like that. And I'm completely blessed. Like, God has worked so many miracles out that weren't even supposed to work out during this time. And so it's not that I'm trying to sound ungrateful, because I know God is doing amazing work already. And I don't want to be on here and pretend like, or pretend as if everything is perfect and like I'm just doing everything fine. And, if this person doesn't like me, oh well, yay. Like it's such a great thing when it sucks. And also don't want to pretend as if I just got everything, I mean, all together on point, because I don't want to say I'm a mess. I don't want to claim that, because, it's just real life stuff that people go through. I am just a normal human being going through life trying to figure it out like everybody else. And also, every time you see me strong in these videos, every time you see me make it through something in my life, it's all God. I have absolutely nothing to do with it. I'm just a human. That's it. I'm just a vessel. I might be used for these videos. I may be used to help somebody else. I may be used for, telling my testimony or whatever else. That's it. That's all I do. I'm just a person. I'm not God at all. I never want to be God. I just want to be obedient to God and just serve in whatever way I can. And it's just, and the bad thing is, most of the stuff is like psychological for the most part. I mean, there's real life stuff happening around me, but I feel like because of all the changes, it's like just like a cluster dump of a series of unfortunate events all like hitting me at once when I don't really even have to think about all of them at one time. I could deal with one thing at a time. Like I could deal with getting used to changes in a career or whatever just right now. Just be like, that's the main thing I'm going to focus on. Just only focus on that. Get my schedule down, make sure I learn different things, talk to whoever I need to talk to, get things squared away, do things this way, blah, 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 blah. I could do that and be like, okay, this is what I need to do. And and it's so weird because even though that's what I want to do, or that's what is ideal, that way it won't be overwhelming. With change, that happens a lot. A lot of the times, your mental health is the first thing that will break because it's so many things at once. And I'm not saying like I'm in a place where I just feel like, oh my gosh, I just can't handle everything. It just feels overwhelming. Really, it feels like too much at once. And I know I can call on God for help, and God has been helping me so much through this time. It's not, I mean, I was in church getting ready to break down today. That's how I feel so bad for the people around me. Like, I didn't. I held it together because, I don't cry in front of people. But if I was a person that was okay crying in front of people, I would have broke down in church in the first service today because it was really hard for me to be hopeful. It was really, and I'm only saying this not because I'm trying to be cynical, not because I'm trying to to tear people away from Christ, because I want to be transparent. I want people to know that's real life stuff that happens. You don't walk away around every day, with no issues at all, with no storms, trials, or tribulations. That's normal things that happen to build you, to make you stronger, so you can really be a soldier in the army of God. It's not just like you're exempt because you're Christian or because you're not. You will, when you are with God, God will give you peace and joy and stillness in those areas. And it's not that He's not giving me the things that I need and blessing me, and I don't still feel peace. I just feel overwhelmed, even though there's like, I feel like a lot of emotion because it's overwhelming. But it's not overwhelming because of God. It's not overwhelming because He won't figure it out. It's overwhelming because it's life. Like, that's just what happens with change in your life. And it's just, whew, I was just trying to be strong today when I got home, and I really felt like I was talking to my daughter. And I'm saying this not because I want to be judged, but because I want people to know that it's real. And I'm talking to my daughter, and I'm just like, okay, like being short with my answer. And it wasn't that I was trying to be rude or nasty, and I'm always so nice and everything else. And I just felt so irritated, just like I can't handle anything else. I don't want to have to do anything else. I just like it just felt like a lot. And my daughter, she's like the sweetest ever. She comes over and she's like, "Do you want a hug?" And I'm like, "Sure." Like, now I'm really gonna cry. Not in front of her, but you know what I mean. And man, it just sucks that she even has to be in a situation to be like, "Oh, do you want a hug?" Like, I should be stronger than that. And this is like one of my weaknesses. I really struggle being vulnerable, and I want to be able to be vulnerable, but I don't want to be perceived as weak. and I don't want people to take advantage of me or to think that I can't handle things on my own, which nobody handles anything on their own. I know we talk about this all the time, but it's really hard. And I wanted to be transparent. I don't want to just come on here and smile and pretend like everything's okay. Like everything is, I feel content right now. Like earlier today, I struggled here and there. I really was struggling hard. Like I'm in church and they're talking about hope, and I'm just feeling like I just I want to be hopeful right now. I know God is going to work it out, but in my mind, I just felt like it was constantly like all of these thoughts, all of these things that were bothering me, all of these things that were on my mind, heavy on my heart, were just circling over and over again. I was trying to like break through. I was trying to focus. I was trying to keep my eye focused on God. And I would just, the thing that kind of helped a little was when the choir was singing, I just kept singing and saying the words, believing, opening my heart to God. And I would just do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Before I left, when I got to church, I just felt like emotionally just like overwhelmed. And I almost didn't go. I almost left, like pulled into the parking lot and left. But I was with my daughter and she's like, "Are we going in?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, we're going in." So we go in and we go to church, and I'm like, "Okay, well, when we leave here, we got to go to, our regular church because I had to do like a few things and I want to make sure that I did some other stuff." So I go to my church and we're talking about the three truths, and it made me think about my truth. It made me think about what it is that I would want to share with other people that might be able to help them with, like, me actually struggling today, me actually not feeling it today. Because every day you're not going to feel it. Every day you're not just going to be this perfect person that just walks around doing all the right things. And it's so sad because I even thought earlier today, I'm a good person that tries to do the right thing. Like, it's a lot for me to have to deal with right now. And I'm like, why is this happening when I'm a good person? But I know life happens to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person. Yes, I will be blessed. Yes, God's covered me and all that other stuff. It's just that it's so weird how when you're weak or when you're going through a lot, Satan takes that opportunity to try to break you. And he will use good people, bad people, whoever he needs to make you feel worthless. And if you're not paying attention, if you allow yourself to just, take a break or a moment, even that moment is enough to give the enemy a foothold. And it's so crazy because you're like, dang, like take a break. Give me a second to catch my breath before you come at me with more attacks. Like, geez, Louise. It's a lot. And I know I asked for this because I said, God, use me any way that you can. I want to be helpful to other people. And honestly, even in this like weak moment right now, I honestly, I would rather go through this for all of you, for my daughter, for generations to come, for all the women and men who feel worthless or feel like they are unappreciated or aren't treated the way that they're supposed to be treated. I would rather take this burden for all of you than for all of you to have to go through this. I would. And I don't even know you. I just want us to do better. I really want us to believe in ourselves, to know that we can have better, and to not feel like we have to constantly keep settling for less just because someone thinks it's ridiculous for you to want to be treated the right way or respected or honored, or for you to feel like you have to settle for less than, or for you to feel like giving up because so many people don't see your worth and they all think that you don't deserve anything. Like, it's so easy to just feel like you want to give up, because it's like, well, if every person feels like I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve to be treated the right way, or I don't deserve like any time or energy, or it's just consistency or reciprocity or communication, then no one will ever, like, that's what Satan wants you to believe, is that no one will ever appreciate you or talk to you respectfully, or cherish you or honor you or respect you, or any of those things. And I'm not saying that I would want the person to be perfect. I would work with, especially if it's a decent human being, if there was some sort of common ground, I would, of course, come to some sort of common ground. Would I lower my standards for that person intentionally? No. I absolutely don't want to be this person who just allows someone to walk all over top of her because someone's nice. Like, I would really have to feel like someone was putting in some sort of effort and trying to pursue me. I couldn't just be the pursuer. I couldn't be the person who always constantly has to do things because the person doesn't feel like I'm good enough or whatever. Like, I really, I really want, like, when I broke up with my ex, I really made a promise to myself and to my daughter that I would never ever, and I'm not saying this like in a bashing way or anything like that. I said this because I wanted to hold myself accountable and I wanted to make the best decisions for her. I said that I never ever want her to have to see me in an unhealthy relationship ever again. I want to show her an example of what being in a healthy relationship and loving yourself is. Like, I told her that she would never have to see me in that situation ever again. And I feel like I put myself in another situation exactly like that over again. Like, where I'm not being pursued, or I'm not being, there's like, it's so crazy how you could think, like, oh yeah, I'm never going to have to deal with that again. And then lo and behold, it's like there's nothing you can do about it. Sometimes those things just come into your life and you just have to really be super duper strong in your weakest moment and get rid of something that you want regardless, because you've made a promise to your daughter and yourself. And it's just so crazy to me. Like, I really felt like the last time I would ever have to feel unwanted, unappreciated, like nothing would be that. That would be the last time, because I would never put up with anything like that ever again. I would never be in a position where I would be with any person that made me feel that way. Or, I mean, and it doesn't have to just be that person. It could just be the way that I feel when I'm with that person. Sometimes it's not just about somebody being a bad or a good person. Sometimes it's just about you being the best you that you could be with that person. And if you are not being the best you, if you see yourself giving up on things, or you're not pushing yourself to another level or whatever else, that person is probably not for you anyways. Or it could just be life. It could just be life. But I made that promise. I want her to see me in a healthy relationship. I don't want her to see me being taken advantage of. I don't want her to see me being used. I don't want her to see me in a situation where I'm not being honored or respected, and I'm not honoring or respecting the other person. I want her to see me in a healthy relationship, period. Just a healthy relationship. Forget all the other stuff. In a healthy relationship that God is the center of. That's my main thing that I need to have in my life, in Jesus' name. Because if I don't say that, if I don't seal it with God, it will be like Satan's playground. He will really come in and just put whatever in there. Some whole dangerous things that don't even belong on a playground will be in there. It'll it'll be a cluster dump. See, I try to use different words instead of that. So, of just horrible things. And it's so crazy, because earlier today I was just like, why do I keep putting myself in these situations where I know. I could pretend like I got it all figured out and I do great and I'm all good and everything's all perfect and blah 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 blah. Like, okay. But I'm not about to do that. And so it's not easy. It is really not easy. I want the best for myself. I want what God's best for myself and whoever it is that is a part of my life. I want to be treated the right way and I want to treat the person the right way. I don't, and it's hard because I have these standards of things that I want and I know why they matter to me. But a person who comes into my life could think that it's ridiculous. Like, that's ridiculous. Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody want communication or, whatever else it is? It doesn't have to just be communication, it can be reciprocity. Like, oh, but I do this and this is me trying. But to me, that doesn't seem like enough. But I'm not trying to make it seem like it's all about me. I want to make sure that I'm considering other people's feelings as well. And sometimes it's hard to find a happy medium because I don't know where I'm settling and where I'm actually compromising. Like, it's hard for me to tell. It has always been hard for me to tell. That's why I've ended up in all of these horrible situations because me compromising in the past was me lowering my standards to just make somebody else happy. And I don't want to be in a situation like that ever again. I want to be with someone who actually appreciates my time and any time that they get to spend with me to really, truly want to be with me, not just to deign to be with me, not just some person who just thinks that I just don't matter, that I'm irrelevant, whatever else. Like someone who really, truly sees me. Like, and not every person is going to do that. And every day gets harder and harder because it's not like I love being by myself and I love being single. And I think it's harder for me because of all the inconsistency in life right now. So I can't have inconsistency. I can't have inconsistency in life and an inconsistent person. It's just too much. For me right now. Like if I had nothing else to deal with, it would just be like, oh, okay. Like it would suck, but I would just be like, oh, okay. But with everything else going on, it's just a lot to handle mentally with feeling because it makes me feel like crap. It doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel like, yay, this person is super inconsistent, or yay, this person hates talking to me because they obviously think I'm not ish. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I can't just pretend like I know somebody's thoughts or whatever else, but this is how I feel about it when it happens. It's not like a happy thing. It's not like a yay kind of thing. It's like I was gonna say one of those words that you say in the place of a curse word, but I can't think of it. Cheese and crackers. I don't know. Something like that. Holy guacamole. It's like holy guacamole. And it's just not fun. Like, I really, in my life, had this plan afterwards. Like, I had this vision in my mind after the breakup. Like, this is what's going to happen. This is what I'm going to have in my life. This is what I'm not going to deal with. And the end. And then life happens. And you can never tell what's going to happen in life. And some things that happen in my life, I'm just like, what is the point of that happening if this is going to be the result? Like, it made no sense for me to go out of my comfort zone, out of me being so comfortable being single and content and happy being by myself, to have to meet someone who was never going to see any value in me in the first place. It's just things like that when they happen really don't make any sense to me. They really don't. And I could say, and it's not the person, it's didn't want to be vulnerable. I didn't want to like open up. I just felt like I wasn't ready. I felt like I wanted to be ready because I liked the person, but I just wasn't ready. And I also just, I kept pulling away. And I felt like I didn't deserve some person who was going to be a good person because I've always been treated like, no, I don't want to say it like that. I'm used to a different type of thing. And also, I just felt like when certain things happen, it made me think that the person wasn't interested because they only talked to me because someone else said something about me, thinking that they were interesting. And not because, and so that made me feel like they really didn't care. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking in my mind, but it just felt like, okay, they have the upper hand because now they know how I feel, but I don't know about them at all. And then they just, I don't know. I don't know if I did something besides that wrong because we all know I mess up all the time. I could have did several things wrong. It could be me. It could be my personality. It could be the way that I talk to people. It could be some of the things that I said. It could be the list goes on and on and on and on. Who knows? But I just got a lot going on and it's just a lot. It really is. It's a lot. It's mentally draining to just feel like, I don't know, Satan's just is really dumping everything at me at one. I mean, life is happening all at one time, and it's a lot. It's a lot to handle. It's a lot to have to weed through. I want to be strong. I want to be perfect. I want to do all the right things. I don't want to mess up. I really want this person in my life. And I also know that anything that is God, you can't stop. It's just it's not even about the person. It's just about life in general. Let's be for real. Because, you know, I meet a bunch of different people. And not in that way. I just mean in general. And one person just doesn't just hold your life in their hands. God holds my life in his hands. It's just everything. And I'm trying so hard to deal with it in a ladylike way, in the godlike way, not in a way where I'm falling apart. But it's so hard. Like me having enough strength some days and some moments is really, really hard. It's like, I don't know. I know this isn't like the typical videos. Usually I would like end on a upper, on a high note, and I still could, and it's just, it's hard to describe. It's a lot. I really am mentally exhausted. I feel like my mind is going like 1,000 miles a minute. It just, it's constantly cycling, and it's like this perpetual cycle of negativity just replaying in my mind, and all of the things that are concerning me, it's like back to back to back. But it's not like cynicism where it's just a negative thought. It's more like the things that I'm dealing with are constantly being thrown back in my face over and over and over and over again. Like, oh, this thing about, you changing, you got to get this schedule thing on one point. You have to make sure that you can get a hold of your life so that I can have some me time, so I can do some self-care, so I can really de-stress. And I haven't been able to do that because it's been so crazy. And so I just feel like, oh my gosh. And then with the real life stuff that's going on, it's just, there's nothing I can do about it. And it's just constantly like a reminder, like, oh yeah, this thing is happening. This thing, don't forget about this thing. And then it's like, the person who is a decent person who's doing absolutely nothing wrong. It's all me just over it being, it's just me, honestly. Like, I'm the person, I mean, I can't just say it like I'm the only person by myself in a situation. I'm not saying it like that. And I do think, you know, mm, mm, mm. I just, whew, I really had this whole plan of how I was gonna be. I was gonna do this. I was gonna do that. It was gonna be me and Jesus forever. Me and God was just gonna be chilling, like, You don't even understand. I just had this mindset and this thought in my head of just running off into the sunset with God. Like, you don't even understand. I was so content. I've never felt so much peace and joy in my life ever. I went around everywhere smiling. I just smiled and laughed. Every day felt like a blessing. Every day still feels like a blessing. I'm not negating that. I'm just saying that I just felt so light. And then life was happening. And it's like, introduce this person and, all of these things. And then, getting ready for the book. And it just has been a constant. And then I had a second to rest. And when God gave me that moment to rest to kind of catch up with things, it was just like okay, maybe I can restart things or go back to the beginning and, or whatever. And it's too late because you can't redo life. You can only keep moving forward. And so it's just, life is just so unpredictable. You can never plan for anything. And I just thought, no one's ever going to do the things that I would need to feel comfortable or be willing to adhere to any standards that I have. Like, no one's going to be willing to communicate or be consistent or have reciprocity or be equally yoked. I mean, there's a lot of people I could be equally yoked with, so let's not say that. But for my core values, things that really matter to me, I was like, there's not going to be one person that's like that. Okay, so funny. But yeah, so I just never had anything to worry about. I feel like I got manipulated. Like Mr. Brown would say. Like, what in the world? That's so crazy. I could have just been left alone and just had real life stuff happening, and I would be perfectly fine without the added stuff. Now I just have to try to release something and let go of something that I wish I would have never had the opportunity of having in my life in the first place. It just feels like, what is the whole point of that? Feels like I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I know. I'm not going to stop there. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I know God has better plans. I know He has better ideas and plans and plans to something me, to prosper me and not to harm me. So it's not that I don't know that. It's not that I don't already know that God is who He says He is. It's not that I don't already know that God is with me, with us. It's not that I don't know these things. And one of the things that really helped me earlier today, which I forgot because I had spiritual amnesia like we all get when we go to church and leave. So I made notes because you can't stop this devil. Okay? like like God is unstoppable. And so I'm going to make sure that I lean on God. So the truth that I want to lean on is God. I'm not leaning on Satan's lies. I'm not leaning on the world to try to tell me what they feel like is the right thing to do. Like, oh no, it's 2022. You go ahead and go for that guy job, whatever. I'm going to like put forth an effort and, faith without works is dead. I'm going to like put it in God's hands and allow Him to do all the things that He needs to do. I do not want to pursue any guy at all in my life. I don't want to be in a position where I feel like I have to do that, like he's some like person and I'm just like a groupie or something. Like I want to be respected and cherished and everything. I don't want to be feeling like a non-factor in my life, you know? And it really sucks when a decent human being doesn't see your value. Like, it's okay when like people that I don't want anyways do that, but when it's like a decent person, it makes me feel like something's wrong with me. Like, okay, so obviously this person is great, so what is my problem? So anyways, so in Second Corinthians chapter 12 verse 1 through 10, it talks about a messenger of Satan putting a thorn in his flesh. And but God allowed the enemy to plan an attack keep us humble and transformed so that we will be used for the glory of God. I feel like I really feel like all of the things that are happening because it's allowing me to stay humble. If God gave me, woof, I could sit here and pretend like I wouldn't get arrogant or conceited or be at all like, just, oh yeah, I got it like that. Like, I probably would act like that. And so I feel like God is allowing me to go through these things because if I would have had the career, the personal stuff worked out, and this amazing guy. Do you know how I would act? I would not know how to act. So I think God is like, we need to humble you because we don't need you to be out here in these streets acting like that because you're supposed to be one of my servants, one of my people. And I can't have my people going out like that. Like, I would never allow any of my people to go out like that. And he will never give you something that's going to destroy you. Like, imagine if God gave me, I'm just using this as an example. This isn't a real thing or whatever. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But this, can you imagine if God gave me an amazing guy? And let's say he's one of the first people I ever met after the breakup. Why would I be lucky enough to meet somebody who could be amazing, who could be the one if and I'm only saying that in like theory, not in realistic terms. And so why would God allow me to do that when all of these other women have to wait 15 years to meet a guy? Like, that makes no sense to me. Also, I mean, it could happen because we know God can make anything happen. And also, can you imagine how devastated I would feel if 5 years from now the person was like, oh, I just am not really that interested in you. I don't know if if I would be like, oh, okay, or if I would be like, I don't know how I would act. I really don't. So I can't just sit here and pretend like I know how that would play out. But you get what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's for my own good. Who knows? I don't know anything. I just know I'm a person sitting here just trying to be obedient and do the right thing. That's it. I don't know what anybody else is thinking. I don't know if that person does or doesn't like me. I don't know if they are or not interested. They could be interested. They could be a different type of person. They could like me, not like me. They could think I'm awesome, not awesome. They could think I'm too good for them, not too good for them. They could think that I'm this great person. They could like somebody else, whatever it is. I don't know what's going on in anybody's life besides mine. And I barely know what's going on there sometimes. And I'm saying all of those different things because my whole point is when it comes to life, regardless of what it is that you're going through, who likes you, who doesn't like you, the job that's, steady, that's in your schedule. And I only say unpredictable because I'm a schedule type of person and I'm trying to give an example. Like, these are things that would be out of the box that would like throw me off course or make me feel unstable or make me feel like, oh my gosh, it's so many different things going on. It's allowing me to be out of balance and uncomfortable, and not uncomfortable in a like pushing me into purpose kind of way, uncomfortable in like it's a lot. And I just think it's so important for when we think about the three truths, it being God's truth, the man's truth, and Satan's truth, that we always stay focused on God's truth because he's the way, the truth, and the life. And no man comes through him but through his Father, through no through his Son, Jesus Christ. And so oh my gosh, I gotta start thinking straight. It's a lot going on. Like I said, it really is hard to focus. I know I get in this sometimes when I'm like over analytical and I have all these ideas for like different things to do and stuff as well. But right now it's just life. Like, when I tell you it's a lot going on, it's a lot going on. And the usually doing these videos is like kind of like a some sort of socialization. It's like it allows me to be able to vent in a way to where I'm giving glory to God. So I'm serving and I'm venting, and not venting, but I am expressing, I'm socializing and I'm serving. So doing those things together actually makes me feel lighter. It doesn't make me feel like I have all of this stuff on my heart anymore. It's like when I put it in the video, it's gone. I mean, it's temporarily gone for like at least a week or something. And so instead of me feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't call someone or talk to someone about this, I could just put it in the video and no one knows any of the stuff that's going on, whether it's real or not. But I really think it's important for us to focus on God, focus on Him above all things, because when we focus on God, He will give us all the things that we desire, the desires of our heart. And sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we feel like, well, we need to do what the world says do. They're saying that we need to be like this in a relationship. We need to be like this when we're talking to somebody. We need to do this way or do this that way. We need to, when we get into a job, we need to tell everybody what it is, because we're not going to do these things. Or we could lead with love and kindness and show them what being a Christian looks like in a work environment. Like, why don't we do that? We don't have to be in the ways of the world and trying to tell everybody what time it is. Like, like they have clocks in the work place, in the work area, so you don't have to tell them what time it is. You just need to be a decent human being who's leading with love and kindness, and just really show them what being a true Christian is. Like, don't allow them to take you to a level that God doesn't want you at. Don't allow them to make you into somebody that you're not, because you are so much better than that. And sometimes that person could be on the fence and life could be hitting them, and you being Christ-like shows them that they should lean on God, and maybe they'll change for the better or not. That's not your problem. You cannot do anything to make someone be something that you don't want them to be. They can only be what they are, who they are. They can't be anything else, nothing more, nothing less. That's all they're going to be. And I don't mean it in a like that's all they're gonna be, like I'm putting them down kind of way. I mean, it is what it is. And and when it comes to everything in life, a person, whatever, like let's say, for example, it is this amazing person. You The world is telling you, oh, you should be with a person because they're amazing, or oh, well, you need to be the person that does the chasing and pursuing. Like, pump your brakes, child. Pump the brakes. Like, what are we talking about right now? What's happening? Okay, I understand it's 2022, and not every woman is going to agree, because women empowerment and all the other things that we're doing, and yes, we are succeeding, and we're bossing up, we're leveling up, we're blowing up, all the things that society's saying. Yes, we are amazing, we can handle a lot, we can multitask, all those things, we're strong, we are independent, everything else. I want to be independent with being interdependent. I need a man, so I'm not going to be on the bandwagon talking about we don't need a man and men are going to end up lonely and all this and that. Men are going to end up however they want to. Where there's one of me who is willing to have standards, there's 12 others that are willing not to have standards. So it's not that he can't pick another 12 women who will be willing to just settle for anything. It's just that he would choose that he wants to just not be with anybody at all, because he doesn't feel like, because at any moment he could have anybody he wants. Who knows? But I'm just saying in general. And I think it's great that we're doing so amazing, that we are, taking strides and making all of these doing all of these amazing things, making more money, whatever else it is, starting businesses, doing everything. Like, I get it. We could do everything, but we don't need to do everything. Like, I know we feel like we have to do everything, but nobody does everything alone. Everybody has help from someone. Someone gave you that job. Someone decided to partner with you. Someone decided to help you and listen to your story as you wrote. Someone decided to watch the kids while you did all of these other things or whatever else. Like, I think we really need to understand that we need each other. Like, we're not just going to do this by pinning one person against another, like women against women or men against women or women against men. Like, we really need to work together. We can't just be at odds with each other, constantly at war, when we are stronger together. Like, I don't think that we get that sometimes. Sometimes just because we can do everything doesn't mean we need to do everything. Like, I want to be interdependent. When I meet the person, when God brings a person into my life who is going to be the type of man that I need, not the man that I want, I'm going to I'm going to need that person to be a part of my life. I'm going to need them to advance the kingdom of God. Together, we're going to be so strong that we're going to be an example and a testimony for all of the things that I've already been through, all of the things that that person has been through. We'll be able to show people that a healthy relationship exists. We'll be able to show people that if you wait on God, He has way better for you than anything you could ever imagine. And sometimes I think it's easy for us to allow Satan to tell us these lies like, there's no good men, there's no good women, there's no this, there's no that. No, 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 no. Like, that's not what God wants. God is the God of abundance, and He wants us to be happy. He wants us to have the desires of our hearts. He wants us to be in a position where we can handle those things. He's not just going to give it to us prematurely so we could destroy ourselves and the person. Like, for me, my example with dating super early and then hurting people that I didn't intend to hurt is because God told me to wait, and I decided to just be disobedient because Satan was telling me that, look at how amazing this is. Like, don't you want this right now? And I didn't even want it. That's the weird thing. I wanted to be single. And still, he was just like, yeah, if you just had this thing. Like, he really made it seem so great. like I couldn't live without it. I had to have it. And I could live without anything but God, honestly. But when Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy and tell you all these lies, he does it because he wants your purpose to be destroyed. He wants you to not have hope in any of the things God promised you. He wants you to feel like you're not good enough, like you're never going to be good enough, like you are the worst, like all of these horrible things, while God is telling you that you are everything He created you to be, that you are worthy because He decided that you're worthy, that you're worthy of the blessings, you're worthy of all the things that He's going to give you. Like, have you messed up and made mistakes or missteps? Absolutely, because you're a human being. And God was ready to grace you and give you mercy on those things because you repented and because you seeked Him. When you seek God first, everything else will be given to you. Imagine being able to have anything that you want that is good for you. Anything that's healthy for you, anything that will mean you good, you could have in your life. Why would you want to listen to the adversary when all he's going to do is lie and give you temporary fixes, temporary fulfillment that will be gone next week or the next day or the next hour? Like, all of these things that seem so amazing, if it seems like if it makes you feel like you have to do it right now or it's going to be gone, if it makes you feel like you have like this scarcity, like, oh my gosh, it's only gonna be one more left, I have to get it right now, it's all Satan, because he wants you to make you feel like there's no more good men. He wants to make you feel like this is the last good job. He wants to make you feel like all friends are going to treat you badly, when that's not true. Just because you meet one bad person doesn't mean all people are bad. That's just good and bad in the world, like always. Like, that does not mean that that is your life. That doesn't mean that that's how your life has to be. That's the way it has to end. That doesn't mean that that's what you have to settle for in your life. God is going to give you everything that you ever could have imagined. Sorry. I just started like indigestion and everything. Well, it happened on camera. And so, but yeah, please know that this is not a dig at any man or woman or anything like that. When I do these videos, this is just for me personally, talking about my personal struggles. Uh, the person Just FYI, the person that I met is incredible. They are an incredible person. No, there's nothing going on. Yes, they're amazing. And the end. That's it. It's nothing good or bad. I'm just using an example because I feel like it's important for people to see a real example and for them to know like how Satan can play on your insecurity and make you feel a certain type of way, even if none of that stuff is true. He wants you to believe those lies so that you can doubt God, so that you won't have hope, so that you won't have faith, so that when you are singing a song in church about hope, it'll make you second guess or make you feel as if God isn't who He said He is, when He is everything that He always promised He would be. All the promises that He made you are going to come to fruition. He is not going to just leave you hanging like that. He's not just going to pretend as if you could have this type of life and then take it away from you. He's not trying to dangle something in front of you that you'll never be able to have. Anything God does is for a purpose and a reason, and it's to build you, to show you that you could have better, to make you feel more confident, to show you that, okay, if this is what you think is the best, imagine what I can do, you know? Or you thought this job was going to be great because you were going to make 100K. Imagine doing your purpose and making 1 million, like things like that. And you don't even think about it in the moment. You're thinking, why would God not allow me to have this 100K job or whatever, however much money you about to make? And you're like, it's crazy for me to turn down this job, like, and just do something that I love doing. Like, what? And God's like, just follow me and I'll lead the way and I will take you everywhere you need to go. And you are there. You're doing all the things that God told you to do. And a year later, you're making 1 million. You would have never even touched the million at the other job, but you doubted God because of Satan. You can't allow him to manipulate your mind into thinking that God would never do the things that he promised that he would do. God is going to do everything he promised, which is why for me it's so weird that I would meet an amazing person and not be with them. But I also know that I wasn't ready. I also know that I might still not be ready. I'll be ready when God says I'm ready. When God says the time is right, and I don't want to be ready a moment earlier because I don't want to hurt an amazing person. I would never want to make that person feel like they're doing something wrong. I would never want them to feel like they're not good enough when they are incredible. Like I never want any person to feel the way that I felt when I was in my previous relationship. I never want any person to be hurt unintentionally because I'm trying to figure something out or because I'm going through a lot in my life. I want to make sure that I can give the best of me to a person, especially a person who deserves it. I want to be the person that they could talk to about stuff that's going on in their life. I want to be the person who could speak life into them and who really does see, more for them. I want to pray over them. I want to pray for them. I want to really be what a woman of God is for a man that's supposed to be in my life. I don't want to be anything more, anything less. I don't want to be anything that God doesn't approve of. I want to make sure that I am at the position that God intended me to be when I'm in the position to meet the person. I know it sounds crazy because most people would say, I just want to hurry up and be in there. I don't want to hurry up and do anything ahead of God. For real, because you will be messed up. Like I already made that decision all of my life until I rededicated my life to God. And even when I just rushed to try to get to know someone prematurely, I ended up hurting people that I didn't even want to hurt. And so I really, truly just want to follow God. I want to do whatever it is that God needs for me to do. I don't want to do anything more, anything less, because God is the God of abundance. And more for God is something that I would never even be able to imagine. It would be unseen. It would be hope, the faith of things that were unseen. I couldn't even imagine, like even my life now, the things that God gives me and blesses me with, I would not even never be able to imagine being able to do those things or have those things in my life. And God is like, here you go. Like it's nothing like, oh, here's this. I could be able to see this incredible person and just be like completely amazed by the type of person that they are and feel like I want to be a better person because they're such an incredible person. Things like that God allows me to do in my life. And it doesn't matter if there's anything or there's not anything. It's just for me, it feels good to know that those type of people exist. And does it always feel that way? No. Sometimes I'm just like, I want this now. And then I remember you need to just listen to God because you remember what happened last time. We don't need to go back to that type of person or those type of things. We need to be doing the right thing because you got things to do. You got work to do in this world and you can't do it halving it, you know? You got to really be all in for God and allow him to just work on you and do the things in you that he needs to do. You don't need to be distracted. You don't need to be focused on anything but God. You need to make sure that Everything that you're doing is with the intention that God wanted you to have in your life. And this video is super long. And so, in conclusion, when it comes to the truth, be honest with yourself. You see, me talking about my skewed perception of reality actually helped, because sociology is one of the best forms of mental health. And also, when it comes to analyzing your life, talking about things, talking things through, really being being honest with God, telling him what's on your heart, telling him the things that you desire, the things that you want, the things that are troubling you. He will help work it out. He will do whatever it takes to make sure that you're good, because you're his child and he cares about you. He cares about everything about you. He cared about the sparrows, so of course he cares about you. So we really have to, when Satan comes in and tries to manipulate your mind and make you think that you're not good enough, or make you think that this person doesn't like you because of blah, know that God, if it's not for you, it's because God has better for you. Even though you can't imagine anything better than that, even though it makes sense, like that makes sense, doesn't mean that that's the end of it. It doesn't mean that that's the beginning of it. It doesn't mean anything but that God has better for you. It could be better with that person or someone else. And also knowing and keeping faith in God, even when things are hard, and praising him even when things are hard, is what really, really helps me a lot, because it kind of lets the devil know, like, you might be trying, but God's always going to win. And no matter what you do, I'm still going to be a soldier in his army. I'm going to, even in my weakest point, I'm going to praise God. I'm going to give all glory to God. Like earlier today, I went to church at the one church, and then I left that church. Even though I wasn't super strong, I felt like my strength regaining a little. And I left. I went to the next church and I felt a little bit better. I went to one of my family members' house and I did my Bible study thing and looked at my Bible study stuff and read the Bible. I listened to Christian music for like 3 hours. I know it's a little excessive, but and then I came here and served after I went to go pick up my daughter and all the other stuff. But I did talk to my grandma. I had like a conversation with my grandma and mom and a few other people, uncle, cousin, things like that. So I just I did things that bring me peace, things that would be, most of my day was focused on God, because no matter what's happening in my life, no matter how crappy I feel or how unimportant I feel, I'm important to God and I care about myself. So in order for me to take care of myself, I have to make sure that I'm focused on God, number one, and that I am going to make sure I'm taking care of my mental state. I always want to make sure that no matter what's happening in my life, like me asking for help in any way that I need to is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not going to allow Satan to have a foothold in my life. I want God to have complete control of everything. I don't want to pick any person that's not him, any job that's not him. I don't want to do anything that doesn't have God in the center of it, because when I make those decisions that's not centered around God, it's a catastrophe. It's really disastrous. It is like a hot mess times 10. And so with God, it's like this peace about it. Like if I would have waited in the beginning when God told me to wait, the time that I was being disobedient, I would feel so much more peace and joy about the whole thing. Like I would feel like, okay, well, God said to wait, so I'm exactly where I need to be, instead of second guessing everything and feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do anything right because, God's blessing isn't on it. And anything I do without God's blessing always makes me feel insecure. It always makes me feel like I'm missing something, because I don't want to live my life like that. I want to live my life according to God. And I hope that with you, when you think about your truth, when you think about the truths of God and the world, man and Satan, that you always focus on God, because God is everything.